I'm getting ready to leave to get on a train for 2 days to holy Tibet.
What are you taking with you?
Everything in this bag.
Bloody hell. And how do you feel?
Feel pretty excited, pretty ready to go.
Our epic journey across Asia began on the east coast of China. Before our train would even begin the long climb into Tibet, we would need to travel across China itself. Thousands of Chinese are actively encouraged to make this journey, but we found that foreigners such as ourselves were far less welcome in the troubled region. Getting the entry permits and informing the government of our plans in advance had proved difficult, and restrictions had been placed on where we could go and who we could speak to.
Where are you?
I'm on the train to Tibet.
Really?
On the Tibetan Express.
Wow.
It's moving, like you can see it out the window.
How's the bed?
Well, this bed's okay. It's actually possibly more comfortable than the one I have in my room.
God.
Except it's long enough, but it's not wide enough.
So that's pretty much what you expected?
Pretty much. Asked me that in about 24 hours, where I got like bags under my eyes and I'm just going insane because I've been on the train. But
the train would continue to stop throughout the night, picking people up from stations in the surrounding provinces. We wouldn't arrive in Tibet for another 2 days, and so with nothing but darkness outside the windows, we settled down for the night.
So how was your first night then, Smith?
well, I mean, it wasn't particularly comfortable. Must have woke up every hour on the hour. Other than that, though, it was fine. It's not bad. All the Chinese got up at like 7 o'clock and then realized they had nothing to do all day. So, you should take a look outside and notice how f***ing sad and dreary it is out there.
As the sludge rivers and rubbish dumps of central China drifted past outside, our attention turned to the train itself. Compared to most trains in China, the recently opened service to Tibet was surprisingly comfortable. Even though the further we went, the colder the weather outside seemed to get. Oxygen outlets in each compartment sat ready to pump fresh air into the train to combat altitude sickness later in the journey. But with the polluted smog hanging over the entire country, it seemed that China was in far more need of fresh air than Tibet.
When you're a kid, you try to catch snowflakes like on your tongue or something. Here, it'd probably burn a hole.
As the hours dragged on, the sheer size of the country became clear. The image of China, as conveyed by the government, is one of sparkling lights and affluence. But out here, away from the coastal cities, we caught a glimpse of the reality. Mile upon mile of grim wasteland passed us by, punctuated by clusters of houses where thousands of people huddled together in poverty. China may be the economic success story of the century, but not everyone is enjoying the benefits.
I kind of imagine that this is what being in space is like. I mean, it looks cool, but you sit there and you think, God, I am glad I am not out there right now.
We awoke the following morning to a completely different world. A snowy wilderness of undulating mountains floated by, just visible in the early light.
Dawn is just coming barely over the mountains. Coincidentally, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't know though, because my watch stopped. But Close, very close. We're actually in mountains now. We're getting higher in the air. They've passed out our handy dandy oxygen breather doohickeys.
We have to sign a disclaimer.
We had to sign a disclaimer saying we read a book that we never did get. That high-pitched whine you can possibly hear in the background is supposedly oxygen coming out, which is just what the trip needed, was a high-pitched whine for the next 9 hours.
Have you seen the windows down there frozen up?
Yeah, the windows are all frosted over. In fact, if you look at the seals, like between the different cars and stuff, they're frozen too.
Wow.
So
The giant peaks which surrounded us sat not on the horizon, but barely meters from the edge of the track. Struggling through the forbidden Kunlun mountain range on a train felt bizarre. But to the Tibetans, each of the mountains were holy, and each one had a name.
那是玉珠峰，那个
什么峰？
玉珠峰，
是这个很高的。
哎，很高那个。
哦。
天黑的时候过来是看到就是那个。
哦。你知道很多的东西。
76年在这里工作到现在。
Even for the Chinese, who claim all this is their own, the sight was spectacular. Behaving very much like tourists themselves, the Chinese on the train took great delight in pointing out the sights along the way.
这都是长江源头。
这就是长江源头吗？
嗯，这是长江支流嘛，都是长江上游。
这么小，到那最上面才海拔最高的吧？
那不是，这个7000多。
那火车经过的是最高的。
最高的烽火山5100。那不是唐古拉
到7000多就不得了了。
上回。
剩太高了。
Completed in 2006, around half of the 700 miles to Lhasa had to be laid over permafrost, and workers constructed over 40 new stations, even building oxygen factories along the route to supply the train. Heat exchange systems are used to keep the track at the right temperature, and in the coldest places, such as the colossal Tangula Pass, even the water in the train's toilets needs to be heated to prevent freezing.
到前面过了岩石坪以后，我们还可以看到格拉丹东那边的方向，还可以看到一点。快到唐古拉的时候，下面就要快到唐古拉。
哦，你告诉我。
让我告诉你。
Thank you.
At 5,072 meters above sea level, the section of track at the Tangula Pass is the world's highest train line.
So how you feeling then?
hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite hungry.
Don't look at me like that. Altitude sickness not getting you down?
Well, I don't know if it's the wanting to sleep all morning was altitude sickness or just the lack of sleep in general. Because when you're stuck on a train for 50 hours, you got another 9 hours. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't feel like exhausted or gasping for breath. So
Headache?
a little bit, but not too bad.
Nah.
It's pretty nice. Gets a little repetitive after a while, but still, I mean, there's some big damn mountains right over there. It's nice to travel through. Much better than what we saw yesterday, but I can't imagine I'd want to live out here.
No.
Because there is nothing for miles. So we're still not even in Tibet yet. We're in Shanghai.
That's right.
So, almost there. Almost there.
There may be nothing for miles in each direction, but that didn't stop the Chinese government from invading a second time. Songs such as this one were commissioned to celebrate the opening of the railway, and its completion was hailed as the greatest achievement since the construction of the Great Wall. Tibet became the place to go, and the government romanticized it with countless slow-motion trains, gorgeous golden sunsets, and of course, the ever-reliable propaganda tool of the happy, dancing Tibetans.
Oh yeah, check this out. So these bags are usually flat. This one,
It's expanded.
they've all gotten all puffed up, and it's pretty solid.
That's really solid. That's gonna go bang and kill everyone with peanuts.
Just leave that right there for you.
Thank you. That's the change in air pressure. That's hard.
Yeah. Joe wanted me to say that it's real ice from Shanghai, but we brought it with us. It's
Yeah.
get it out of the ice machine just down in the car. So.
Yeah.
Actually, no, this really is ice from. Well, it's building up on the train and coming into the car. So we're not sure how much longer we can survive.
Nice.
I'm not eating it.
There's the spirit.
With only a few hours to go until we arrived, we passed the time by capturing the mountains as they sped by and trying to photograph the occasional yak.
Derek lost his yak.
On the afternoon of our third day, we left the spectacular mountain scenery behind and finally passed into what the Chinese government calls the Tibetan Autonomous Region of the People's Republic of China.
Well, we finally made it to Tibet. We've been here for about an hour and a half. So we've probably come down a good 1,000 meters at this point, if not more.
Headache's gone.
Headaches are gone. Breathing's fine. The train seems to have slowed down all of a sudden. Maybe we're gonna stop.
In the windswept province of Amdo, birthplace of the Dalai Lama, we watched the Tibetans outside, easily distinguishable from the Chinese, with their Mongolian features and traditional dress. Each day, hundreds of Chinese are ferried into Tibet this way, enjoying the comfort of the warm, oxygenated carriages. Outside, however, the Tibetans make their way across the plateau on donkeys and motorbikes, breathing up to 40% less oxygen than at sea level and battling the constant gale force winds. And we didn't have to wait long for the subtle arrival of yet more Chinese into Tibet.
I wasn't expecting that. Went under the track. Wave to us, come on.
Please get off the train if you get to the railway station. When you get off the train, please check your luggage and don't forget them.
So where are you then?
Seems too hard to breathe.
Maybe you can just run a few minutes.
Yeah, we can run back and forth.
Run around a bit, yeah.
Just try.
Good idea.
Wow, nice job.
Although nobody had stopped us filming here at Nachu station, when we arrived at our destination in Lhasa, we were told that filming was strictly forbidden.